Hey everybody, it's Cool Mike again with some hopefully somewhat helpful FreeBSD tips and maybe some pointers to help you along if you're trying this for the first time. If you watched part 1, we installed FreeBSD 12.1 and I realized that I was editing some config files and things with VI and I never said what I was doing or explained how to save a file or exit the editor or anything like that. So I wanted to make kind of a quick start guide for the default editors in a base FreeBSD system. This isn't going to be a full-blown tutorial. There's a ton of those on the internet. I just want to kind of make something quick to get you started so that you can edit some config files and get an editor that you're more used to installed on your system. FreeBSD comes with two main text editors by default. There's VI and EE, the easy editor. I've kind of always preferred VI. I'm going to start with that one. EE, it is, I guess a little more user friendly. There's a menu at the top, so it doesn't need as much explanation. To start VI, the command is VI. If you hit enter here, it'll open a temporary file that you can save as whatever you want, or you can specify a file name or a file path. If I could type this here. So this is my rc.conf file, and the thing with VI is it's a modal editor, and by default you're in like a normal mode. So if you were to start pressing some keys, you'll see that you don't necessarily type. Nothing really happens. In normal mode, you can enter commands and manipulate some of the text and move around the file. So the idea with VI is to have minimal finger movement. So you're focused on the home row here, and a lot of the commands are mnemonic, but not all of them. So to go down, you use J, and then K is up, L is right, H is left. If you want to use something a little quicker to move through a line, we'll go down here to where there's some words. You can use W to jump by word, and it also hits punctuation. So it'll go set, and then you're on dump dev, and it goes through and hits the quotes, but mainly goes by word. Now, you could speed that up and you can move ahead multiple words at a time. So say we wanted to go ahead 2 words. You'll see we just skipped right over crash. And we could go ahead 3 words and we're on no because it skipped over the comma and the quotes. And you can do the same kind of modifier with most commands. If you remember, L is move forward. So we can go 3 forward or 4 forward, and we'll skip individual characters. You could go, say, 6 spaces back, and you can just kind of jump around in bigger gaps that way. 0 will take you to the beginning of the line, and $sign takes you to the end. So once you are in the area that you want to edit, you need to hit I generally to insert. So if you hit I, it'll start inserting before your cursor. So we're on the E in disable. If we hit I, we're now in insert mode, and we can start typing, and you'll see we're typing before the E. So you can hit escape to go back to normal mode, and we'll undo that using U. If we wanted to add after the cursor, you hit A, and you can see it jumped forward one, and now we can type here. I'll just get rid of that. You can jump to the beginning of the line or the end of the line in this, in a similar fashion. So if you do Shift I, it's going to be a big jump. It'll go all the way to the beginning of the line and put you before your cursor. If you were to do that with Shift A, it's the same thing. You go all the way to the end of the line and start inserting. The last two methods of starting to type that I use, and you might use pretty often, are O and Shift O. O will insert a line below where you are, and then Shift O is the opposite. It'll insert a line above, and you can start typing. If you've typed something that you want to get rid of, you'll want to notice that we'll go to the end of the line here. So I just typed an I, we're in insert mode. If we hit backspace, we'll put a couple letters. If we hit backspace, it moves the cursor back. It doesn't get rid of the letters. It's because these will then be overwritten or overtype or whatever it's called. But if we backspace, you can only go as far as you've started entering. I can't delete the line that was there before. In order to delete characters and words that are here, you can use X to delete a character. So we'll delete individual characters there. You can use W or DW to delete a word. So there we took the word. Now remember, it counts punctuation. So we'll get rid of dumps here too. So those words are gone. We can delete, just like we could modify other commands with numbers. Say we want to delete enable crash. So we're going to delete 2 words, and they are taken out. You can also use some of the movement modifiers. So if you want to do individual characters, so say AUT out of auto. So we'll delete 3 and we're going to move forward 3 characters. Or if we go to 2, we could delete 2 backwards, and we got rid of the T and the space there. We got rid of those 2 characters. And 0 to move to the beginning of the line, $sign to move to the end. You can go D, $sign to delete to the end of the line, D, 0 to delete to the beginning of the line. Or if you just type DD, you'll delete the whole line as well and shift everything up. You'll want to be able to save your files and exit the editor. So to save, any commands start with a colon. That's the leader key. So you would go colon W for write, and if you hit colon W, it's going to save your file. It's just a normal save. If you want to specify a file name, you can go colon W test, and now this will write to a new file that's called test, and we're now editing test. If you want to save and quit, that's colon X. That'll save and take it out of the editor. If you want to just quit, colon, because it's a command, Q for quit. Now, if you make changes, so we'll just type some whatever, U for undo. Now if I try to quit, it's going to give an error, and it says you can use the exclamation override. So if you really want to get out of a file without saving and you can't, you can Control Q exclamation, and that'll force you out. The second choice for a default editor on a FreeBSD system is the Easy Editor, EE, and it's basically the same. You can use EE You can start a blank instance and save the file as whatever, or you can open an existing file. And like I said, this has a whole menu at the top, so there's not really a whole lot to go over. The key bindings are totally different. These are more like Emacs kind of. The little caret is control. So if you look through the menu, P previous, LI is line, N is next line. So instead of using J to go down and K to go up, you go control N for next to go down, control P to go up, and then you have forward and back. Now with EE, there's no modes really. So if we type a letter here without holding control, you'll see that it starts to type. And one of the nice things about EE is backspace and delete work kind of more like probably most people would be used to. EE can also use commands. You don't use colon as a leader key though. You can see in the menu Control C for command. So now this is the same kind of thing, and you can write a file and things like that. I don't want to use that. Just go back into this here. You can also do a lot. There's an actual menu here. So if you hit escape, we can leave the editor. And now in this case it just left, but if you make changes and leave editor, it'll prompt you, do you want to save or not? So no, I don't want to save there. So that's kind of where I'm going to stop. Like I said, I just wanted this to be like a really quick sort of, I guess, quick start guide, just how to start entering text and how to save a file, how to get out of the editor. I didn't want to do a really big in-depth tutorial, especially with VI and EE, because they're kind of, I use them as fallbacks. I think most people do. It's not anybody's daily editor, I wouldn't think. Yeah, thanks for watching, and let me know if there's anything else you want to see. Thanks.